To the show, Sports and Hip Hop with DJ Mad Max here with the one and only Craig Carton. Craig Carton, how's it going?
Good. Let's go. Let's do it.
Congratulations on the ratings and being the top spot in the afternoon drive.
Yeah, I appreciate it. We're very fortunate that we got to number one in a very short amount of time. So that's a good thing. Now we keep plugging along.
Mm-hmm. What do you think it takes to become that number one spot on a station such as WFAN?
Well, I was fortunate enough to do it in mornings for 10 years.
That's right.
So coming back now, it's New York sports fans gotta, think that you're legit, right? You can't fake the funk. You got to be legitimate, honest, open, and they got to respect that, and ultimately you got to entertain them. So I'm blessed that I'm in a position where, I've been able to entertain New Yorkers and they accept, what I do on the radio and want to hear more of it. So I'm fortunate. I was fortunate to do it for 10 years in the mornings, and now 4 or 5 months into the afternoon show, being able to do it again is pretty cool. And I'm very thankful to New Yorkers for accepting me and giving me a chance to come back and do it again.
How did it feel to touch that mic for the second time and coming back after everything that went on? Because you serve as a huge inspiration for people that make a mistake and that they can still come back and make it big.
Yeah, hopefully I'm the poster child for that, right? That you can fuck up and if you do the right things and work your ass off to put yourself in a position where you get a second opportunity, that someone will afford it to you, and make the most of it because, I lived it. I did it. And I think there's some credibility to that too. Like, I don't shy away from it. I own it. I messed up, and I messed up of my own accord. And, touching the microphone and being back on and being able to say, hey, Billy from New York, you're on the fan, was powerful and emotional and, even better the second time around, really.
Mm-hmm. Let's start from the beginning of your passion.
I'm just going to close my door. So go ahead. I'm listening.
Oh, okay. I want to start from the beginning of when your passion of radio came about and developed into you going to Syracuse and graduating there with broadcasting journalism with a degree.
Yeah. Well, I knew what I didn't want to do as opposed to what I did want to do. I knew I didn't want to wear a jacket and tie. I couldn't sit in a cubicle. I just don't have the personality for it. And then I kind of fell into radio. I was making prank calls to a student-run radio station in Syracuse called WJPZ, which is a pretty well-known station. It's like a top 40 station up there. And I was just doing voices and calling in and pranking their morning show. And they loved it. So they were like, yo, man, whoever you are, can you come in and meet us? Because we'd like to make you a part of the show. And I was like, shit, yeah, why not? So I got into radio that way, doing that. And then that led me to doing a play-by-play for women's basketball. And I was doing a Sunday night call-in show. But I grew up loving, WFAN, in high school prior to going to college. And it seemed like that'd be pretty cool, right? Get paid to talk about sports. And then I just got lucky. I just, I got a job in Buffalo, and that led to a job in Cleveland, and that led to a job in Philly. And, before you know it, I'm the youngest guy in America at the time doing a full-time major market sports talk. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what I was doing, but young guys liked it. And that's something that you can't fake. So I was very lucky that the way I presented a show with no one could teach you how to do a show, just appealed to young guys. And I've done that ever since.
Something that we have in common is that you were also a DJ in college, DJ'd at a pub in Syracuse.
Yeah, that's how I made money. I didn't come from any money, so I had to hustle, like it says above your right shoulder. So, now this is, before all the technology, and before having an Apple computer up in front of you meant you were a DJ. We had record players, and we did have CD players. We were digital CD players, which you couldn't scratch on, but you could obviously go one song to another song pretty seamlessly. But on the record players, you could do whatever you wanted to do. So a couple nights a week, I would DJ at 2 different Syracuse bars, and that's how I made drinking money, basically. And I loved it. Yeah.
What were your top 5 hip hop records to scratch or play for your audience?
Oh, wow. Jesus. Well, back then, Lisa, the Cult Jam would have been up there for sure. You got to play Rapper's Delight. Mm-hmm. Run DMC was obviously huge. it's a lot different than it is now. The type of rap is different also. So those are probably three of the big ones. Although at least it's not rap, obviously. But that genre, like Stevie B and I'll Be Sure.
Getting into R&B now, I'll Be
Eric
Sure.
B and Rakim were huge. Like they came, I remember seeing them at Syracuse. After a big rally was there, they played. So really old school, like the godfathers of New York hip hop. I wasn't really familiar then with much hip hop outside of New York. I knew, NWA came a little bit later on. But I was just an East Coast guy who just loved that music. Like I grew up on Motown. So, I hated rock music where most of my friends were into Zeppelin and the Stones and all that. I was into urban music. I loved Motown. I loved oldies. And then when this new genre came about, kind of street hip hop, which is really what it was, I fell in love with that real quick.
Who's on your Mount Rushmore? Because when we spoke on the phone, I told you who was on mine, which was Tupac, Nas, Biggie. We can go on the Slick Rick, Rakim, Big Pun.
Yeah, I don't think there is. I put that out online a couple of months ago just to F for people, but you can't do just four.
No,
it's
you
impossible.
can't.
You can't. There's no such thing as just four. Because if I just take, Nas, Biggie, Jay, and who? Tupac's not on the list. People forget, Ice-T early on wasn't so much of a gangster rapper. He did some bubblegum rap early on, which was great. MC Light, how do you not have her on the list from Brooklyn? So yeah, I don't think you might be able to come up with four women. That's possible. But I don't you probably have Queen Latifah, MC Light, Salt and Pepper,
Foxy Brown,
maybe. Probably Roxanne early on. Yeah. So you probably have a better shot doing it with women. I don't think you can do it just overall. I think it's an impossible ask.
Well, rap today has changed drastically. It's terrible in my opinion. It's not as good. There's no lyrics. The beats have changed. It's all trap music now.
Yeah, well, I hate trap music, but I feel like sometimes I sound old when I say that because, music is generational. So my kids don't get what I like. And my gut is that their kids they're not going to get what their kids like, whatever it is, 20 years from now. So I think music is generational, but I think I would still take the lyrics of any rapper from 20 years ago. And I think I'd win that battle. Now there are guys like Lil Wayne's lyrics are awesome. There are guys, Eminem obviously who I think is a GOAT, awesome. So there are guys that still lyrically, it's like sports, right? Any era. But I think overall, I don't think rap is nearly as good as it was.
Have you had the chance to interview any rappers during your career?
Run DMC.
That's
in studio, which was great. Dougie Fresh.
Fire. Salt
and Pepper. I used to do these tailgate parties before Jet and Giant games where we'd slap pigs and eat we pulled pork and stuff, and I'd bring old school rappers, to perform at the tailgate party. So I got to meet a bunch of those guys. Not all of them, obviously, but a bunch.
If there was one that you could interview, say on your show, because I know you guys with you and Evan, you've talked about getting artists on your show. Who's that one rapper you would love to have on?
Wow. If it was a no holds barred, legitimate, like the person's gonna talk for real, I would want to talk to Jay. I think. I think he fascinates me. Obviously, if you're gonna go guys that aren't living, I think I'm a great interviewer. I would love to interview Tupac and Biggie at the same time. That to me would have been a great interview. And I know they did some stuff on stage together, but that would have been a great interview, which obviously never happened. If you could have a legit conversation with Eminem, I think that'd be great because I like to know how their brains work. Like Eminem once did this famous interview on 60 Minutes where he taught, I think it was Ed Wallace, whoever it was, how to rhyme the word orange.
Orange, that's right. I know what you're talking about.
Fucking awesome. So yeah, I'd love to get to know, like I have a unique skill what I do. like stand-up comics have a unique skill. Rappers have a unique skill. Some of them can't rap off the head. They can't do it off the cuff.
No.
They can do what they write down. Some guys just give them a beat. Well, I tell you, one of the best freestylers out there, and people think I'm kidding, is Little Dicky. If you give Little Dicky a beat, he's as good as anybody. Logic is maybe one of the best freestylers I've ever heard. So I respect that talent, that skill, because it's hard to do.
Getting back to your career and working with Evan Roberts, how's it different from working with Boomer Esiason?
He's smaller, for sure. No, it's different because the dynamic is different. With Boomer, I was the little brother who liked to poke him, and that's not the relationship that I have with Evan, because I am older than Evan. So I have more life experience than he does. My kids are older, all that stuff. So I think I had a change in how I deliver myself because my partner's different. I got to be respectful of Evan's skills and what he's great at, which is the sports stuff. And then along the way, hope that I can bring out his personality beyond sports. With Boomer, it was kind of the opposite, where I was the little brother who was mischievous, getting in trouble. And really, I always say I humanized Boomer. I made Boomer, for the radio audience, into more of a real person, right? As opposed to just a football player or the guy you see on TV. Because I think a lot of times we forget that these are just regular guys. So I think, so that dynamic was a lot different. But I'm lucky with both because I'm working with two really good guys. They both allow me to do what I do. And not everyone would allow that. And I can't do it any other way. So for Evan, it's easier because I had a track record of success here. So he respects that. So he'd be an idiot not to let me do what I do. With Boomer had to take the leap of faith that I knew what I was doing without ever hearing me do it. Because Boomer didn't know who I was. I had 20 years of radio success behind me, but he never heard my name before. So the difference there is Boomer had to take a much bigger leap of faith than Evan had to. Evan basically had to just say, well, I saw this guy do it for 10 years, more successfully than anybody else. Why would I get in the way of that? And he's been a great partner.
It seems that way. 100%. You guys are the #1 ratings over Michael K. Thank God. That shows like listening to paint dry. This Thursday is the draft. We're both Jet fans.
Yeah.
Are you confident in Zach Wilson being the franchise quarterback for New York?
I got no choice, right? He better be good. I can't go get a quarterback every 3 years, but by no means am I a quarterback guru. None of us are. So the people you hear on the radio or TV that claim to know what the fuck they're talking about, they don't. So I'll lean on people who know what they're talking about. And as far as, I don't know what the kid's going to be like with a blitz or anything else. But as far as technically speaking, can he play quarterback? Everyone says there's no doubt about it. So I'll cross my fingers. I'll put on my Wesley Walker jersey, and I'll hope that the kid can play. And that's it.
What do you think they should select at the 23rd pick overall?
I got no idea. I'm not going to pretend like I do. That's not me. I'm not one of those, I'm not a draft dude. I don't sit at home. I don't analyze it. I can guarantee you this. I will be the only guy on radio that tells you he knows absolutely nothing about the guy they picked 23rd. I don't claim to. And that's, I think what makes us different also. Like Evan will probably know the guy. Everyone else on the radio is going to claim like, this is what I love about radio, right? And now the internet. Oh, great pick. Or, oh, terrible pick. You never saw the guy play.
Exactly.
What do I know? Yeah. So, that's how I feel about it.
I think they should.
I hope they do the right thing. I don't know.
I think they should take Travis Etienne out of Clemson, the running back.
Look, I saw the kid play like you did. Great. Take him. I don't know. Whoever they pick, I say this a lot. I view it like I view a lot of aspects of life. The way I view being on an airplane. I don't know who the pilot is, but I'm fucking rooting for him. Right? Mm-hmm. So I don't know who they're taking at 23, but I'm rooting for him. I feel the same way I don't talk politics because I think it's stupid too.
Mm-hmm.
So who's the president? Doesn't matter. He's my airline pilot. I don't know the guy, but I'm rooting for him. And that's how I view it. And that's the best way to go through it, I think.
Out of
Like
the
you don't
three,
have to have you don't have to have an opinion on everything. You can say which makes it real. I don't know. I don't know.
Mhm.
So I say that. I don't know.
I agree with you on that. And out of the three teams, because I'm also a Met and Knicks fan, same as you are, who do you think will be the first one to win a chip?
I'd probably say the Mets are closest right now. Like I love what the Knicks are doing. And I thought they were gonna have a tough time last night, so I got lucky on that.
Suns.
That I saw there's gonna be a tough spot. Phoenix coming off a loss to Brooklyn. The Knicks are not a championship team yet by far, but the Mets, because they got deGrom, and if Stroman pitches the way he pitched the first few starts, I think the Mets. I don't think they're winning a championship this year, but out of those three, I think they're closest.
Do you think when it's all said and done, Jacob deGrom goes down as a top 10 pitcher of all time? His ERA right now is a .36. He's batting, I think, a 550.
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, listen, it's Tom Seaver, Dwight Gooden, and deGrom, and by the time deGrom's done, that order might be completely different. He stays healthy, stays a Met. There's no reason to think he won't be the greatest Met pitcher of all time. He won't have the wins of the league's great, but that's not on him. His ERA will be there, strikeouts will be there, and what he does is just ridiculous. Yeah.
For the Knicks, do you think that they will finally attract the big names in the offseason? I was reading reports DeMar DeRozan may be a top target, or do you think that they should stick with what they have going now with the young guys and the veterans that they have right now?
Listen, I think at some point you do have to go get a stud free agent. Just the way the NBA is built right now, I think you have to remember probably half the role players that are playing good minutes for them right now aren't going to be here next year, just the nature of the business. So I think you have a good little core, right? Mm-hmm. You've got Randall, who's a legitimate stud now. You've got Quickly, Rose, how long is he really going to be here? So you've got some pieces that I think you can build around. And I think ultimately, though, for the Knicks to, elevate themselves from, all right, we're a little bit better than 500. Okay, we are now a legitimate postseason team. Okay, how do we get to Milwaukee, Philly? And I'll keep Brooklyn out of it because of how they're built. I'm not knocking it, but I'll keep them out because they're different. What do we have to do to get to the Philly-Milwaukee level? And to me, that's really, you get the right free agent, I would think you're at that level. So I think the Knicks are getting close.
Growing up, Craig Carton, who was that sports personality for you that you looked up to?
Bernard King. I've always said the Knicks are my favorite team of all my teams. Bernard King, although he wasn't here all that long, I remember putting white tape on my fingers, going out in the backyard and trying to make, a fadeaway baseline jump shot like Bernard King. And in baseball, it was Mookie Wilson, but nobody in my life trumped Bernard King because that was the guy.
Number 30.
That was the guy. 50 points back-to-back nights had never been done before, right? That was my guy. So that was one of the cool things, like becoming friendly with him based on who he was to me as when I was a kid, was one of those surreal kind of life moments. But yeah, it was Bernard King all the way through.
Mm-hmm. Growing up, also, you asked me who was my favorite.
Did I?
Sports talk radio
yeah,
host
you
of
said
all
Mike
time.
Francesa. My wife was what a dick.
Well, I have to go with Mike because he's a St. John's alumni. Respect for what he did for radio.
It's all good. It's all good.
What he did for radio. You're in my top 5, though, because if you want me to break down the top 5 and give you the top 5.
I got to hear this. Your top 5 radio guys. Mike's one. Good.
Mm-hmm. I got to go with Chris, Mad Dog, of course.
All right.
Joe Beningo, Steve Summers, and you.
In that order?
Mm-hmm. Well, okay, I'll give you the exact order.
You're going Mike and Chris 1 and 2. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. But you're too young. You didn't hear them in their heyday. But I get that. It's fine. It's all good. Because I love those guys growing up too.
Yeah.
Everyone think I don't like Mike. That's a personal thing between me and Mike. But I love Mike and Chris.